Hey. All right. So I'm double checking here. All right. So David Shurter is responding to a community post that I made. And I'm going to play it right now so you can hear it. And then we're going to get back to it in just a second. Here we go.
This idiot constantly wants my attention, so I'm going to post what she just put on YouTube. I only knew Thomas for, 2.5 months?
And here, I want to point out, too, that, David has a habit of showing a screenshot of something and then talking over it. The likelihood of people actually stopping and reading everything and, I don't know, doing some critical thinking about what he's talking about and what he's saying probably doesn't happen. He thinks that this is some sort of receipt while he talks over his opinion of what he thinks it is. So let's continue.
Woman has lied constantly about me.
I'm lying constantly about him. No, all I've done is defend myself against him lying about me. But I'll stop talking now because we'll get back to this in just a second.
Tried to befriend me, but I don't care about any of this. I've called out every one on this list because they're all working together. And again, it's all about the $115 in a 3-week period that Thomas gave to me. And notice how this has become such a major, major issue.
Yeah, it is major, David, and we're going to get more into that in a second.
Which is why this was done, because they wanted to make this a major issue as well. And so I responded, but they block everything that I say. So there's an army of them out there just fucking talking shit about me. But, oh well. They're all working together. And while you're...
And notice how he says, Thomas is attacking me. You're attacking me for supposedly being on opposite sides. You sure do seem to be working with each other to shut me down. Almost as if you're controlled opposition working together and your lies won't work. Well, you know what? I'm not lying, David. And I work alone. This is between David and I. All right. If other people have issues with him, well, maybe that's because he's doing the same thing to them. Do you see what I'm saying? Like maybe he has a lot of people disputing his claims because he's lying about them as well.
You're focused on their shit. You want to know what you're not focused on? Who's behind the satanic Nazi pedophile ring? And all of the sex trafficking that's going on. That's what you're not focused on because you're focused on their stupid shit.
And what is he, what is, no, just asking you, what is David exactly doing to help children other than merely mention them in his arguments against the drama that he creates with other people? So he's actually involved in creating the chaos and the drama. He's talking about himself. All right. All right. So we are going to play a little music. And, it's kind of like when you eat sushi, you kind of, wash the palate out and take a break for a second. All right, so I'm going to stop that here and, continue. All right, so this is about David Shurter this morning. Well, it's, morning still on the West Coast. Happy Saturday, everybody. It's now March. Okay. David Shurter is apparently pretty ruffled, pretty upset about one of my community posts that I made recently. And you know what? I'm going to go ahead and screen share exactly what I wrote yesterday in response to his videos and what he's been doing, the things that he's been saying on YouTube. I think it's this one. Yeah. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. So I wrote, and this was in response to OG Mitch R's Dregs of YouTube 2 video in the comments, and also the video itself. And David's reference to it as if it has some sort of validity. And when you read, this is OG Mitch R responding to, the allegations to somebody. And I believe he was responding to David Shurter. Right, because he says, David, when Corey Daniel claimed publicly that Thomas was sending you money and scripting you, I heard you deny it in a video. I asked Thomas to send me screenshots of the PayPals he sent, and you were right. Thomas never scripted you. So Corey Daniel is caught in one more lie. I'll be honest, at one point a few weeks back, Thomas called me Inspector Q-Ball. Excuse me. I was pissed, but then laughed. That's Thomas. He can be an asshole, but he is a fun asshole. I asked Thomas to not engage with you so we could see who keeps going at. Okay, anyways. So, this is what I wrote in response to pretty much everything, all right? I said the AI Adonis allegedly fact-checked Thomas Schoenberger's donation to David Shurter, and I also CC'd him in this because, and OG Mitch Art is Dregs of YouTube too. So let's just start this again. The AI Adonis allegedly fact-checked Thomas Schoenberger's donation to David Shurter and has determined that it did happen, but there was no script to attack Phoenix, Enigma, Daniel Dowd, or myself. So Shurter just happened to use all of Schoenberger's and Dregs of YouTube descriptions of us all by himself. Dregs of YouTube 2 and Schoenberger have been calling us Goblin Dowd, Goat Face Corey Daniel, and Wig Wearing Terry Joy since 2023 and before. Shurter refers to us in the same way. That's scripting. It's repetitive insults coming not from one source, but multiple. That's the targeted chaos that reputation management company Shadowbox was selling to Ed Butowski, as quoted in the Daily Beast. Schoenberger was on the board of directors of Shadowbox. Shurter is taking money from a 2-time convicted felon on stalking charges, Thomas Schoenberger, and continues his grift on YouTube. It doesn't matter if Shurter asked money from Schoenberger or what Schoenberger says motivated him to donate to Shurter. A transfer of money has taken place between Schoenberger and Shurter, followed by malicious defamation and targeted harassment by Shurter himself on YouTube and TikTok. Not only does Shurter ask for donations regularly on YouTube and TikTok, but he berates his viewers if he finds their donations unsatisfactory. That is exactly what I posted, and that is exactly what got his little panties all up in a bunch, okay, if he wears them. All right, so let us go back to his video and welcome those who have who have joined the live stream. I showed this in the beginning just because I don't want to have some long, I don't want like a cold opening with just music, right? When somebody watches this video later, I want them to give them a nugget, a little preview of what I'm going to be talking about. So let's play it again. This is fair use. We are educating the public of David Shurter's grift.
This idiot constantly wants my attention, so I'm gonna
now notice
just put.
He has my post, and like I said in the beginning of the video, it's a real trick. It's a little trick to show like this is like I did something really awful. How many people? How much of his viewers are able to, or even not? Let's say how many of his viewers aren't controlled opposition? How many of his viewers commenting aren't part of the bot LARP or the sock puppet accounts of Thomas Schoenberger, agreeing with him, egging, like verifying, validating this insanity? Okay. I would say probably a lot of them. And then another portion is probably sock puppet accounts that are creating more drama on purpose and or same thing, right? Probably sock puppet accounts or whatever, or people that disagree with him, or, but it's definitely people that we don't know who their identity is. Let's continue.
Put on YouTube.
But my point, I seriously doubt that the people that follow him and believe him, I'm just speculating that they may be a group of people that lack critical thinking skills. They're not going to like sit back and go, wow, is this Terry Joy's person? Is she innocent? Does she have a point? No, they're going to be listening to this guy lying for them while they donate to him. That's probably the scenario of people that believe in him. And I'm not disputing, again, that nothing bad happens to children in the context of what he's saying. And if you really knew me and you knew my channel, you know that I've gone to bat for this, right? If you knew my last channel or any of my time online on Revolution Radio or American Freedom Radio, I talked about this topic. But my point is you got a David Shurter that is willing to take money from a 2-time convicted felon who every single person that David Shurter is attacking has been attacked ritually. When I say ritual, it's a ritual attack. You're talking about a person that was part of Shadowbox. And if you do look up that Daily Beast article that I'm referencing, I just don't want to say the title because YouTube doesn't like it. But if you look it up, right in the earmark of it, it talks about Shadowbox and how it was created, meant to create targeted harassment. Targeted chaos was the word. So when you have somebody like David Shurter taking money from that, from someone associated to that. What makes you think they're not still doing that? Huh? So let's continue.
Knew Thomas for what, 2.5 months? This woman has lied constantly
Lied?
about me,
I'm
tried
a
to
liar.
befriend me.
Oh, no, I don't think so, David. Oh, I don't think I'm the liar in this scenario. And by the way, when I say I didn't take money from Thomas Schoenberger, here's something that David Shurter and his viewers that donate to him or think he has any shred of credibility, or anybody that backs him on their YouTube channel. Oh, it's really good to see you smiling again, David. Yeah, anybody who supports that needs to know that, you know what, Thomas Schoenberger at one point tried to give me money too, David. But guess who turned him down? Guess who didn't take the money? You want to know why? See, at first, here's how it happened. I interviewed Denise Mattow, which I regret every single day of my life, on my channel. Guess who showed up in the chat? Well, that would be Thomas Schoenberger. And yeah, you know what? It got swarmed, and a lot of people claimed they were being doxxed and all this kind of stuff. But I think that's also part of the LARP, right? And they came in, and the next day, oh, Thomas Schoenberger was kissing my behind, David. Like there's no tomorrow. Like I know he can, which is probably what he's done to you. Oh, you're so good. You're such a champion. You really handled that really great last night. Yeah, we know how it works, right? Because it's a game. It's a manipulation. And then he said, well, I would really like to give you some cryptocurrency, and wanted me to open up, like, gave me some link or whatever. Because I didn't understand. I mean, I have a Bitcoin wallet. It's just there. I don't do anything to it. But I couldn't figure out how to accept the money, really. Right? Because, I didn't know who he was yet. Right? So it is tempting to want to take somebody's money. But then again, all of a sudden, when it didn't work out for me, I remembered something. See? Because, David, I am a journalism student. My major right now, I went back to college, and I'm a digital journalism major. So at that time, I was at City College. I'm at the university now. I was at the City College, and I learned with the last semester before I met Thomas Schoenberger that journalists don't take gifts or money from the people that they are reporting on, because it compromises the integrity of the report. All right? So guess what? I didn't take the money, David. And you have. I'm not dirty. I'm not compromised. I care about my words being truthful. That's why I'm here. But let's continue.
But I don't care about any of this. I've called out every one on this list because they're all working together. And again, it's all about the $115 in a 3-week period that Thomas gave to me. And notice how this has become such a major, major issue, which is why this was done.
Notice because they wanted to just for a minute. Notice this. This is the I guess the white supremacist
to make this a major issue
that has a website where they that's on the dark web. I think they have their own site, because like 8chan and 4chan, they got infiltrated with some of this stuff, and now they kind of went to here. Now, apparently, whoever this is, whether they are that or they're representing that to, also get into this drama, sent him money, right? And said a few things, and he's done some videos about this. But look this, it says refund sent. Well, that means that he initially accepted the money. All right. Now, for a long time it said pending, and it didn't show that he accepted it, but now he's refunding it. He accepted the money initially, but I guess maybe we could also assume a possibility that because he's getting so much criticism, or maybe he didn't know what that group, well, he did know what that group was. What I think happened is he probably accepted it and refunded just so he can make a stupid argument for everybody to make him look like he has integrity. Like he has virtue in what he speaks.
As well. And so I responded, but they block everything that I say. So there's an army of them out there just fucking talking shit about me. But, oh well.
What's the difference between talking shit about something? That's what you do, David. I'm actually talking the truth here. You took money from Thomas Schoenberger, who was a 2-time convicted felon, and also was on the board of Shadowbox, which was known for creating bots even to create targeted chaos on the person that was their prey, basically. Yeah, that's you, David, not me. You've got that blood money on your head, on your consciousness, on your soul, on your truth, not mine. Doesn't belong to me. The darkness belongs to you, David. That's how that works. Return to sender.
Oh, they're all working together. And while you're focused on their shit, you want to know what you're not focused on? Who's behind the satanic Nazi pedophile ring?
Yeah, I care about things like that too, David, but I don't think that you're the Pied Piper for it. You are the example of making that whole thing look ridiculous. You're the provocateur. You're the scarecrow hanging on the fence. And on that note, I shall bid everyone farewell. God bless you and have a wonderful weekend.
Save my soul. Went up downtown. Went up downtown. Went up downtown. I want to save my soul. Went up downtown.
Okay, yeah, you're right. I didn't see the chat, but I see it now. Are you guys still here? Are you still here? Because oh, I'm sorry. Oh, hi, Glenn the Bad Witch from Ohio. Oh yeah, I'm here. I'm here. I'm still here. All right. So David Shurter. Wait. Okay. Why does David? Okay, let's start from the top here. I can see you guys. Okay, so if you stay a few minutes, no. Here's David. Okay, here it is. This is the interesting part. And David Lynn Shurter is not his real name. David Lynn Shurter died at 8 days old. David was brought into a family as a young boy and has been living under that identity ever since. David Shurter lived in the same apartment complex as Paul Bonacci's father, who coincidentally had the same initials as David's friend, whom he referred to by initials. Okay, let me. Pootie Twang says, I spoke to David's own family. His supposed blood relation half-sister told me herself they are not actually related. Why does David's ex-husband have a Facebook post of himself outside Offutt Air Force Base? How does David afford all his quilting supplies and toys on $752 a month? I didn't know he was a quilter too. That's interesting. May Brussels Project says yes. Captain Apu is laughing. Listen, Terry. Okay. Captain Underpants is here. Welcome, Captain Underpants. I was wondering who Captain Underpants was, because David kept going, Captain Underpants, Captain Underpants. I'm like, who? Like, I actually reached out to Phoenix Enigma, and I was kind of joking, and I said, "Are you Captain Underpants? Is that your new name now?" And he said, "No, it wasn't him." So, yeah. And the other video, the one after this one that David made, David is actually saying that I was fake fighting with Phoenix Enigma. I never fought publicly or said anything bad about Phoenix Enigma publicly ever. So even to say that there was a drama issue between us, trying to prove that we're all, in on it together and we're all fighting with each other and it's just fake drama because he has the real nugget of truth, is completely bogus. I don't have any problem with anybody other than really David and Denise Matau and Titus Frost and but that's a whole nother conversation. I spoke to Noreen and she freaked out on me and lied and told me David Shurter had already been investigated. I contacted West Des Moines PD and they told me David Shurter has never been investigated. Noreen is lying. David freaks out when you mention it. So many things I have to tell and so many documents to supply in due time. The real conspiracy in David's life is how he became David Shurter. Wow. It was nice to David, and on Christmas he yelled at me. I was nice to David, and on Christmas he yelled at me. And I was sent into the darkness. David has zero truth. You know what? what you're saying, I mean, like Pootie Twain, we should probably maybe make contact outside of here too as well. Um so, and I know that Daniel Dowd, so maybe, or you probably know Phoenix, so we should probably make that connection through them, is what I'm guessing. David's hatred for Noreen is so much more real and visceral than his faked hatred for Lucian Greaves. Yeah, I mean, there's nothing. I mean, just even looking at him, and and of course, they say don't you judge a book by its cover, but looking at his face and his grimacing and his overall cadence, his eyes, he just looks so dishonest to me. Just by looking at him, let alone if you don't pay attention exactly to his words. I'm really creeped out. His bathtub videos creep me out, that he's talking about this topic, the topic of children and things like that. Yeah, and stuff. And yet, we are assuming that he's naked in a bathtub saying it. That's weird to me. That's just weird and inappropriate. Can you explain how David had decided that I killed Owen? I'm defo 2,000 miles away. Yeah, no, the whole thing about people breaking into his apartment, his house, and the peanut butter stuff, and that you guys are responsible. There's no proof. That's a slippery slope generalization. He's just connecting dots that do not exist. Who else? There's a lot of people that do that here. And they should be called out for it. Either produce a fact or, get off of YouTube. Seriously. Corey is my best friend. Oh, okay. David literally uses the same recipes as Noreen Gosh for his Christmas desserts. The same recipe. I know Corey and Dowd in Underpants. They are all good people who I didn't know before David hate. Hey, got cameras. He's got cameras all over. No doubt. Totally. I can imagine him having cameras all over. Nothing makes David more angry than calling him Johnny Gosh. He turns murderous. I'm a father of 5. He knows he's been caught. Try it out. You'll see. Yeah, I think David is really worried about the fact that the donation from Thomas Schoenberger leaked out. And he's definitely can't get it. He has to keep commenting on it. He's in several videos trying to defend himself against it. Denise Matau has stepped in and tried to wipe it up with some of her videos, criticizing Schoenberger, but then defending him at the same time. They've tried to push off that mess up, by distracting it, saying that, any one of us other people are doing blank, blank, blank. They're in high gear right now. In terms of what they're pulling on their channels, or even personally, because they know that they're being exposed. David is part of all of that. And he's probably been part of all of that. Who's to say that his association to Thomas Schoenberger just started now publicly? He definitely has an association to lift the veil, which also has an association of dispensing a lot of this information into the public. And yeah, there is guests that came from Thomas Schoenberger to lift the veil. So, I mean, my feeling is, and David Shurter was, a regular, or, on his show, either in the chat or on it or referenced. See, Lift the Veil validated basically David Shurter. And I would say probably at that time, around all of these, if you go back to 2016 when Isaac Cappy came on the scene and all this stuff started happening, David Shurter was also promoted in that mix. Another thing that David Shurter does is he mixes in the UFO, Michael Aquino, super soldier kind of stuff. That's why he name drops Max Spears all the time. And I looked into that. Yes, he did do an interview with Vanessa Bates. When I was communicating with her, she'd forgotten that it happened. That's how traumatized she was at the time. But if you listen to that actual interview, you will see where it looks like David is manipulating a traumatized woman who just lost her son into believing his narrative. See? So maybe that's why she didn't remember it. But he oftentimes associates himself to conspiracies that would, like Montauk or Stranger Things, or, I was groomed by Michael Aquino to, be the Antichrist, and now I have these powers in the, and again, one of the things is that you have like a belief that I would say would be more on the Luciferian side, is that you assume the darkness in order to like fight the light. Is more on the line of mystery school beliefs, right? So I mean, it's the Theosophical Society way of thinking of things. And so, when he acts like God and this and that, and, the wrath of God coming upon someone like me is, preposterous and really hypocritical in the very nature of his accusations. Like, who gave him that kind of authority? No one. And yet he uses it as a berating and a tactic to those that are conditioned that way. Personally, I think he's a very evil man. Okay, how many? Okay, hold on. The man he got his house in Harlan from, coincidentally, just so damn coincidentally, at the time Johnny Gosch went missing, was living over there in West Des Moines. How many, Pootie Twang says, how many Johnny Gosch coincidences can there be? May Brussel Project says he does nothing to help kids. He has restraining orders in Washington and in Nebraska. May Brussel Project says we got receipts. David Pootie Twang says David also calls Noreen whoring and says she's the ugliest woman he's ever seen, and said Johnny Gosch just ran away from home from abuse. Captain Apu says that he is a shaman. Mary Brussel Project says Captain LOL. Pootie Twang says Barry son of Sam. Captain Apu says the first Christian satanic shaman wizard that binds things to stuff with quilting thread. Interesting. That's a very interesting statement. I just read something. There's a I think the book's called 12 Years of Slavery. It's part of my Africana studies. And it's another book that's a textbook that we have to read, that we're reading. And it talked about a person who made a quilt telling the story and passing the stories of the experience of their slavery in it. And it's at a museum. Anyway. Okay. David doesn't believe in anything he's telling you. He's an occultist. He isn't learned any form of ritual magic. David is an atheist. He isn't an occultist. It's just a gimmick. Of course. Because because I think these people, they gravitate towards communities that have a belief in a certain way, right? It's a belief system, and it has to do with spirituality and paranormal and physics and bending time and space and The Secret and everything, everything else, right? So yeah, I mean, one way of manipulating or pulling from that demographic of people is to say that you're the special one in it. The lady who started the Ivory Garden filed for a restraining order against him. Son of Sam, yep. Oh, David is, Punu Twang says, David is extremely evil with a penchant for hurting children. Yeah, no doubt. I mean, he admits in his narrative that as a 12-year-old, he did do that to his nephew. And, then he also, and beat him. And he also said that he lit somebody on fire. And then he was, put into a mental institution. And the way he talks about it, for me, I say he has no remorse. There's no, the guy that he set on fire doesn't have a name. He calls him a dude. And he blames what he did on his parents, and he also blames, or his upbringing, or his own abuse, or he was unfairly put into a mental institution. It's kind of the attitude that he has, and it's like, yeah, if you set a person on fire and you're a child, there's something wrong with that person. They lack empathy. They lack, they can't feel. That is basically the behavior of a psychopath. You harm animals, you harm people. When you're a child, you are a problem. And really, what he is doing right now online is coming from somebody who has the background of being not socially capable to feel or care about the collective. David doesn't even pronounce Aquino correctly. Yeah, you know what? It's really Aquino. Aquino is, Max Spear said something. He said that that's what he wanted to be called. But it's a Spanish name. It's really pronounced Aquino. We got receipts. Oh, good. Good. David is a disinfo agent. Of course he is. Has been since he came on the scene. Absolutely. I agree with that. Hi, Aiken. I don't know why I can't see Aiken. Oh, there he is. Even the little teeth gaps. David could be a broken clone. Does he have a belly button? I think not. Oh, it's Filipino. Okay, I'm sorry. My bad. Really? Aquino. All right. Okay, I won't argue that one. I one would think that would be in the papers that they both disappeared. Can't find dung on it. A Brussels Project said that. Narcissistic paranoid schizophrenic with sociopathic tendencies. Yeah, I mean, he makes a video every day. Every day he's commenting on something. Hi, Anthony. Hey, I love your videos. Your recent one about the Italian store, that I can't remember the name right now. I'm sorry, but then you're promoting. They're really well produced. And speaking of that, I got to go soon because well, first of all, I got to play with my Osmosis Pocket 3 camera, which I just bought because I have like a commercial to shoot myself this weekend as one of my class assignments. David is using the usual disinfo tactics, repeat often, much more than necessary, over and over. Hence, it's daily. The daily videos, right? Because if you repeat something over and over again, then it gives it truth. Like, what is it? Like, people believe something if you say it 3 times or something like that. Everyone knows David is talking about Michael Aquina. Oh yeah. Yeah, I actually, I'm watching. You guys, check out Unidentified 54. I mean, if you want to look into somebody who really objectively researches the paranormal and UFOs, you need to check out his channel for sure. Like the best people right now, in my opinion, on the internet that talk about this topic. I mean, they're not the same exactly, but they do go on each other's shows, is Stephen Cambion from Truth Seekers and Anthony from Unidentified 54, because that you're not getting the David Wilcoxes and the Carrie Cassidys and Captain Mark Richards and any of that kind of stuff that is not true. And by the way, also spills over into what David Shurter is doing. There's a connection in that falsehood in the UFO community that crosses over to David Shurter. Oh no, I'm not too. I don't think I'm too kind. I really like you and your show and respect what you're doing and everything, and so that's a fact. I've been a little bit out of the loop. Like, one of the things I want to do is start to go back into, hanging out, watching you guys' shows and being in Stephen Cambion's chat again and stuff like that. I've gotten distracted too long with this other, stuff that's going on. But at the same time, the fact that it's happened to me is I have a greater understanding of things than I had before. And sometimes you have to go through unpleasant things to get insight on what the truth of something is. So, sad thing is we can never prove it with DNA because Noreen refuses to give her DNA. Okay, so I'm getting the feeling, all right, and I'm just going to point out that some of you guys here in the chat feel that the whole Johnny Gosh thing is not really a true, that David is actually Johnny Gosh, or you're saying David is Johnny Gosh is what I'm saying, and that he's been actually alive the whole time. And they're just running like a scam on that? Okay, yeah, David is Johnny Gosh. That's interesting. I mean, I think, and I'm going to be honest. Yeah, you're saying yes. I'm going to be honest, not to say that I mean, I don't know whether he is or he isn't really yet. I mean, I'm willing to be open-minded in the possibility that that could be true. Just like when you're researching anything, you're like, well, some people are saying this, right? If I just shut my mind off and go, well, there's no absolute possibility that could be true, then I would, I'd like to, but I think that a lot of people might not find that plot. They won't want to think that that's a possibility because they might have confirmation bias on something. And when you bring something into their stratosphere like that, it kind of like, dumps the apple cart basically. And that's going to be a challenge. So I'm just saying, you want to make sure that you really got like you've got the documents and you have the argument to prove something like that. I'm not saying this to you, Pootie Twang, because I don't believe you. I'm just saying that I think this is the challenge that you're up against. Bye, Anthony. Thanks for stopping in. Do you believe David's book? I have never read his book, but I think one of the things I've noticed about people that run a grift on these kind of topics, they all have a book. And I think the reason why is because people think, well, if they have a book, then they must have some sort of validity. But you realize we live in a time where we can just, anybody can write a book. Doesn't mean it's good, doesn't mean it's truthful, doesn't mean anybody, they had an editor on it, or that, it has any truth to it whatsoever. So, when you and also, I kind of have a problem with the fact that the title of the book is Rabbit Hole, because it, that again, when you want to get clicks, when you're wanting to hit the algorithms, I mean, not my rabbit hole, what? That is the rabbit hole is a phrase globally, basically, that links to this, not only to the lingo of, say, the 17th letter of the alphabet that was used, but the representation of the truth media that sprouted up back in, when Carrie Cassidy came on the scene. It is like breaking the Matrix. The Matrix movies use it. So for him to title that in relationship to the topic that he's speaking of, in my opinion, quite possibly may not be an accident. I remember my conspiracy lore correctly. Ghost was allergic to... Oh, yeah, I read that already. Okay. You know what? I might just go... I should probably get the book. You know what? Because just so that I know what's in it and so I can speak on it. It's good to get informed, right? If you're going to research something, then, maybe I should just read his book. Much like the Allah in the Quran, David, because I know you're watching, I'm closer to you than your own jugular vein. We can get a panel together and tell the truth of the receipts. That sounds like a great idea. Let's do it. Let's make that panel happen. I am the satanic poop warlock of your worst nightmares, David. It's hilarious. All right, so I do need to go on with my Saturday because I got to learn that osmosis camera before I shoot tomorrow. So, yeah. I almost wasn't going to live stream this weekend. I said on my last live stream, I go, I'll be live streaming, probably Friday night. And last night came and I didn't live stream and whatever. I'm kind of busy too. So, my priority, even though I'm paying attention to this, and commenting on it here and there, my priority is my education, which I'm dearly enjoying. I love learning new things, just like I look forward to learning about what you guys have to present in the argument of what's going on. Denise Mattow knows David is Johnny. She got angry at poor Pootie and immediately erased everything I said. Oh, they're both quilters, by the way, and quilt quite similarly. Yeah, you know what? It's funny that you're saying that about the quilting thing, and I get what you're saying too. I know I've been having a creepy feeling about it as well, in terms of Denise's stitching shows recently, and rumors of her actually stitching an effigy of me. So it's a bit kind of on the creep factor. Find a free copy of his book so he doesn't get money from you. Yeah, I was just thinking that. I'm like, I gotta find a free copy, because I was like, I do not want to give that man 1 cent. Not one. I am the eternal Pootie. I am in all places at all times in all dimensions. Everywhere all at once. Denise also worships Our Lady of Guadalupe. Really? His book is free on his website. Oh, okay, thank you. Oh, good. Okay. I'll go look it up. Well, I really enjoyed you guys your participation in the chat, and I was going to go, and then I saw Pootie Twang saying stay, and a group of us will be joining us, and then I'm so glad that I went back and looked at what you were saying in the chat, and then I came back for us to have a conversation. Captain Alpu says, I'm just a superhero frog from the internet. All right. You know what? I will try to make peace with the frogs. All right. I won't judge you for being one, Captain Apu. Is that fair? He's a park gay. All right. Oh, I get what you're saying. Okay. Wow. I wouldn't be surprised. He trolls people. He was out there smoking a joint, and he was smoking another man's joint. Oh, yeah. Well, I've smoked several other men's joints too before. So, hey. Thank you for having us. Well, thank you. That's very nice. Okay, so I will just go ahead and play my last little song again, and just it happened in Elmwood. In the park, he got caught. Okay. Okay. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh about that. All right. All right, we got to keep laughing, right? It's important to keep our sense of humor in the deception of the internet. All right, take care, everybody. And I'll just continue where I left off, because I wasn't really done with the song. So here we go.
on top of save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Pop, save my soul. On top of save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Pop, save my soul. On top, save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Pop, save my soul. Went up downtown. I went up downtown. Went up downtown. I was walking out one evening.
Headed for the riverside, around this fuss and fight.